And good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My
How's
name
everyone doing
is
tonight?
Max. That is Tim. And to the side of us, we have the one, the only, the biggest troll in the Discord, Myles.
How's it going, guys? I I kind of take issue with troll. Troll has such negative connotations now. I'm more of a mischief maker. Like
There we go.
I don't actively am malicious towards anyone. You know that's kind of the attitude people have in trolling now, and I'm more just kind of have a goof.
Last week
I guess
you
that's one way to
told
put it.
us that you were playing a dragonkin named Zale.
Yeah, it's a goof.
Yeah, and now we know that you're playing a bear named Wynn.
Well, so those are actually the season 3 characters, not the season 2. I just got mixed up.
That
Oh,
sounds
is
like
that
a
what it
spec
is?
thing. Sounds like a
thanks for
spec
having
thing
me.
to say. Yeah, definitely.
Thanks
We
for
we
being
tried to
here.
get you. Yeah, we tried to get you last week, and unfortunately, Discord sucks. I'm sorry. I mean, Discord's awesome. And please sponsor us, Discord, and give us Discord Nitro for free. But yeah, unfortunately, it didn't work out. So now here we are.
We're back.
Yeah, and we've got you in here. So
yeah, I mean, so I'm at your disposal.
yeah. So for starters this week, I did want to go over what we've learned in the previous episode, which was basically everybody's intro. One, we learned that Patrick allows everybody one free successful kill, and they used it all up in that video. I don't
It's a
think
great
I heard a
cinematic
dice.
effect, of course.
Yeah, it was a fantastic cinematic, but you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So we'll talk about the big thing that everybody wants to talk about, maybe later. But you are starting off with an Uplifted Bear Envoy, combat envoy named Wynn.
Yes.
And we have Rebecca playing a tiefling or tiefling witch warper named Talara. And Tyler's playing an Asharu or slug guy, as I kept saying, mechanic named Nikithi. I can't remember what he named his drone. I feel like he gave it a name, but I can't remember what it is. Idis.
There we go. That's what it is.
And Drew's playing a human, lame vanguard named Kaz. And then
I'm super jealous of Drew's character. He has the most rad character art.
That only is because you and Drew love anime more than anything in the world.
True.
It's not just anime. There's a very specific like early 90s like Sega Genesis type of design that his character has that really speaks to me. And I know it does to Drew as well. So we do, as much as we disagree on things, we have very similar takes.
For sure. No, I mean it does look awesome. I mean, I was thinking the Street Fighter feel, but then as soon as they posted
very
like
much.
They posted the idea stuff in the Discord, I was like, oh yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, and then Jabert is playing a goblin operative named Bumfuzzle, and I'm pretty sure there's a direct relation, at least it sounded like it, to the Bumfuzzle of season 1.
Just a little bit.
It's just a tad. That was one, at least for a couple of us, definitely myself, didn't know that he was playing Bumfuzzle. So it was an actual shock to find out who he was.
Yeah. The only thing that surprises me is with him playing Bumfuzzle, that means that if Patrick successfully kills him, then he successfully has killed his own character that he like had going into season 1. And
I mean, so he can still get his season 1 kill, technically, you know?
Yeah.
Well-
I think Patrick has no bones about killing any of our characters, even one that he created.
Not for lack of trying, though.
I just always felt like the goblins would just, be immortal. Like they're not actually goblins, and now we just find out that they're just regular old goblins played by Jabert.
Well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I would not count Bumfuzzle out at all because I have been very surprised so far with what he's done with the character.
I really want what's the other one? Cattywampus. I really want somebody to try to play Cattywampus next season. Is that are you going to bug Patrick until he lets you play Cattywampus, or
I don't know. I don't think I could do a goblin voice very well. I'm barely competent doing the bear, and both Patrick and Jabert have expressed how much doing those voices kills their throats.
Oh,
And I don't know if I want to live with that constant pain.
yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, no, I thought it was a great intro. I thought that everything kind of like it. I mean, it was just very much like the first intro of season one, where it's not part of the story. You get some quick flashbacks, you get some quick information about people, but not enough to really know the character yet. I'm really excited to see which each of these characters grows into. I know in the Discord we were constantly talking about Tyler's character and like having to like he doesn't know how he's going to feel about having a goblin on board. But if you remember season 1, Andis did not like the goblins messing around in his workshop, and then halfway through the season he's like, I'm going in there to teach the goblins some stuff. And then at the end of the season he's like, you can fly it, just bring it to us, like pick us up. So
yeah,
I feel like everybody will warm up on the goblins.
The first episode of season 2 was really fun to record because at least I can speak for me, but I feel like we were all much more comfortable with what we were doing. The kind of setup that Patrick made for us was the same, but I feel like we were better at one, automatically getting into our characters and also making some decisions for them.
Right.
Whereas in at least for me, I felt like I was stumbling around in the intro. And it may not sound that way because of the editing magic Patrick has done with it, but this, at least in season 2's intro, I personally felt that I was more comfortable doing it than I was in season 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
a little seasoned. How do you feel? I mean, we've got some other stuff to go to, but how do you feel about going into this season 2? Like, even though you've recorded just a few episodes, are you feeling this character is more of a different character for you to play? Like Raimi was smartass, you are smartass. Like do you think Wynn's going to be a little different?
Yeah, Wynn's definitely different in that respect. He's not so much of a smartass. I had difficulty coming up with the character that I really wanted to play because this is the first time that I've had to create a character in the same system right after a campaign and not just continue with that character. And I think a lot of us at first that hadn't played a lot before kind of felt very weird to say goodbye to our season 1 characters, which is why we're really stoked to be doing those Patreon episodes with our season 1 characters for level 13 and beyond. And Raimi turned out very different than I had initially intended because he was supposed to be a little more jovial, Aladdin-esque, and he was the opposite of that. And I know that Patrick had wanted us to kind of have a more of a Guardians of the Galaxy, weird aliens type of feel with this season, which is why you have all these characters who are wanted for something or other and have some sort of not so clean past. So
Right.
with Wynn, I definitely wanted to have a character that was definitely more conscious of himself and his surroundings. And I think I miscommunicated to some people that he was kind of a cuddly old bear. And he's not, but he does have a heart. And he might be friendlier than some other cast members, but he's definitely not as quick to be negative as Raimi was. And I've been able to have a little more goofy fun with him than I could Raimi at first because he's a big blue bear.
Right.
And, so that has been really fun for me, and that's what kind of got me into the character. I didn't do as much, like I created a background for Wynn, but it wasn't as detailed, so I could be a little more loosey-goosey with it and just really enjoy playing Starfinder and not be so deep in all my character stuff like that I was in season 1. Because that had always been my play style, is I create a character that I make this meticulous backstory for and really get into him. And this time I wanted to kind of create something a little looser. And I mean, you can see his bio on the Cosmic Crew website, but with Wynn, I feel that he's going to be a little bit more of a mixture of that kind of, he's a leader, but he doesn't necessarily feel like he wants to be the leader, but is the kind of person that is the first to step up and might be the least screwed up member.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not saying much because he's pretty screwed up as well. And because everyone's bringing their baggage, and which is fun, because I think for everyone playing these kind of sort of criminal Starfinders is a different flavor for a lot of us.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But
definitely big change.
I've definitely made trying to make a conscious decision not to be like Wynn, and he's definitely he's not an angrier character, because that was, everyone's like, oh, Myles is all so grumpy. Like before we had our Discord really active, like everyone was always, sending messages on Twitter and our emails like, man, is Myles so depressing in real life? Because that character is a bummer. And Patrick's like, Myles is like the most happy one of us. Like, so I'm trying to make him a little different, but because of the flavor of the season, he's going to have a couple kind of aggro tendencies too.
Okay.
Okay. And that brings me to another question that I had, and you might have to switch or view the Twitch stream to see this, but can you explain, because you're saying he's not cuddly, can you explain this picture that I got from Monstrous on the
Discord? Which one is it?
You know which one it is.
Is it the one with him and Bumfuzzle?
Him and Bumfuzzle and Rebecca's character.
Oh, yes. I had nothing to do with that. And I mean, at the same time, you can't have a big blue bear and not want to make some cuddly art. And it's kind of funny that the three of those characters are put together, given stuff in future episodes. But I definitely wanted to have that kind of fun dichotomy where he obviously, I'm having fun with a lot of the puns, like with his name, because Patrick was not super pleased with me when I told him what my character's name was going to be. And
I think that brings us into another question. Let me switch back. You guys get the picture from some monstrous art from the Discord. This came up literally like an hour after the the show aired, and it's just beautiful, just beautiful. It's not quite their actual character portraits. It is in the Futurama Simpsons-esque, but yeah, that's just beautiful. But yeah, so that brings us to another question. What is Wynn's full name?
I have to look up. It's Wynn Poe is what I had set for his first and last name. And
now that sounds familiar.
Yes, it should.
Wynn Poe. It sounds.
What other bear do we know that has a name like similar to that?
I don't know.
Is this a joke to you, Myles? Is this a joke to you?
That was Patrick's response, and I was like, "Listen, if I'm playing a bear,
a big blue bear on top of that,
yeah, the blue part was, I think, both of our ideas. Like I had put forth the idea that he doesn't have to be a normal color, and I think he had put forth some Photoshop thing of a bear that was blue, and I was like, I love this. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. And I was pretty pleased to be a giant blue bear.
So and not to interrupt, because we are going to get back to Wynn and how you feel about him and stuff like that.
Sure.
But we do have a question in the Twitch chat. from
Okay.
Basics for Gamers. And this guy, I think his name's Dave. I followed him on Twitter. He's been posting a bunch of videos for anybody that's not like super deep on Starfinder rules. And it's just basically an idiot's guide. I don't want to say it. He's not calling us idiots, but as an idiot, it's an idiot's guide to videos and the rules of Starfinder. But he's asking if is that a Gotcha Man poster behind you?
It is indeed.
And it is indeed.
Yeah, it's under the second or third American name, GeForce. It was brought over here as Battle of the Planets, Eagle Riders, and GeForce. And I am a massive, massive Gotcha Man fan.
And on top of that,
like you should be,
like for 15 minutes before we actually clicked over to air, that's what they were talking about.
It was nonstop talking about anime.
Yeah, I was telling Tim of the failed Gotcha Man film that almost came out in the States by Imagi, who did the CGI TMNT movie.
Yeah, if you're actually, I'm gonna throw the link in here. I don't know if you do the Discord thing, basics, but there was a Gotcha Man conversation that lasted for a few hours today as well in the Discord.
Always
so
gotta talk some Gotcha Man.
Yeah, it's nonstop.
As Drew pointed out, your guest lecturer credentials that you have about Gotcha Man.
so yeah, I do have to. I mentioned this to them from our other podcast. We guest lectured about anime at our alma mater, Wofford College, and Drew lectured on Gundam, and I lectured on Gotcha Man, and mostly so we could say we have officially taught college courses on the anime. And it was a great day. Drew did a really great job with his Gundam presentation, and the kids, I was shocked, like they loved his dad jokes. I always get onto him about it, but they were eating out of the palm of his hand. Like he did a really good job of his presentation. It was a lot of fun. It was with my old sci-fi professor, and he had listened to our show and knew that the two of us were at least within driving distance, and asked us if we would come and speak at their anime interim. And so we did.
Oh, that's awesome. When is my professor gonna? No, they're never gonna even see this.
Right.
They do not care about Starfinder.
Why not?
I don't know. Wookie wants to know if Myles likes Gotcha Man or Power Rangers better.
That's actually pretty tough. I'd probably say I go back to Power Rangers more often, but Gotcha Man is the reason I got into Power Rangers. They were the first like teen team, and it paved the way for Sentai to be created. So it was kind of the anime blueprint for the tokusatsu shows. So that's a really, really tough one, but I'll probably stick with Power Rangers just because I watch it more frequently, and but I think in my heart of hearts I will always be a GeForce guy.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we're gonna get off the anime because this is a Starfinder show. And I never watched it anyways.
I'm sure like Patrick is just shaking his head right now. He's like, of course we're talking about anime.
He's just squeezing the space goblins. And he's just like stress balls.
Yeah. This is like burst by now.
Yeah.
Right.
Poor Bumfuzzle, already dead. Jabert didn't even get to play him. So you're playing a bear. You're playing an uplifted bear.
Yes.
Why? Was this because you knew Tyler wanted to be a bear and everybody wanted Tyler to be a bear and then he was banned by Patrick? Is it specifically to troll Patrick?
I'm honestly, I actually didn't know that at this point in time that Tyler was banned for being a bear. He had just mentioned that Tyler had played a bear in a Pathfinder session.
Hmm.
This goes back to late this summer when we were talking about our season 2 characters, and Patrick and I were having a conversation, and he slid into my DMs, as one does. And we were talking about races, and he obviously had some foresight into what was going to be in the Alien Archive, because I was having trouble figuring out what exactly I wanted to be, and I was even looking at maybe some Pathfinder races to integrate into the game. And there were a couple of races that I was thinking about before that he made the mistake of telling me about Uplifted Bears, because he had said that there was a cat race, and I was like, oh, that could be very cool. And I was very close to picking I think it's pronounced, is it Shimreen? Is that how it's pronounced? Shimreen?
I called it Tiefling earlier. I don't know pronunciations.
That one I was very, very close to considering. And then as soon as he kind of said, yeah, the bear would probably be available and I think we'd have fun with it, I was like, yeah, I want to be a big old bear. Like as soon as like he kind of shared some of the stats and stuff, I was like, this sounds super fun. Like I can kind of be a little more goofy than I was with Raimi and just kind of have fun with it. And that's kind of what my mission statement was going into season 2 is to get less into the head of this angsty wannabe vigilante technomancer, and just kind of just have fun and just play a role-playing game as a big old bear with my friends.
So you drop the My Chemical Romance and you pick up the Kesha, which I believe is why you're actually here, is to tell us why you picked Kesha out of all of that.
What song is it? I thought you wanted me to talk about all of them, because neither of you had heard about the Mountain Goats, which made me sad.
That too, but I want to know what Kesha song it is that Wynn wakes up to and puts on his pod.
Well, it depends. It depends on the day. I was definitely thinking about the Rainbow era, because it's all about rediscovering the self and kind of going on your own redemption quest. So it just depends on the day for Wynn. But I as a fan of pop music, and I feel that Wynn would have a variety of types of music that he likes, and I think for him, where he's at post, seeing his little bit of his origin in the first episode is that resonates with him. So, but because there's parts of that album that are also kind of about just owning yourself and having a good time, that was something that I personally wanted for the character. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of what factored into choosing Kesha specifically, not just because I'm a big Kesha fan. Because like people will say, oh, Myles is just playing the stuff he likes. Listen, I have over 100 gigs of music on my computer. I've got over 200 records. Like I'm a big music person, so like anything I choose would have been the stuff that I like.
Right.
And but yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of all three of these bands or these artists. But like with Kesha, like he could be waking up with Rainbow or Him in his head, or he could be kind of in a really good mood and listening to like Let Him Talk, or even the love song she wrote to Godzilla.
Okay. I mean, I'm just glad to know
it's the more whimsical side of the character that hasn't really appeared yet, at least in the first episode, but I'm hoping to explore in future episodes. With Coheed and Cambria, you kind of hit the nail on the head with that one, where it's just like this big epic music. It's space oriented, and as someone who would need something to get himself psyched up to go to space, because Uplifted Bears are not really comfortable as spacefarers. They prefer to be on terrain on a planet. And so having this big bombastic sci-fi oriented rock, and especially about a character who is an unwilling protagonist, which he starts off as, like he's still kind of unsure of himself, and that's the Claudio character within the meta narrative of those concept albums is very much like that. And so I thought that would be a very cool thing for the character, and also Coheed and Cambria is really good. So
I will agree with that.
And with the Mountain Goats, it's somewhat in the same vein narratively as Coheed and Cambria, but It's more indie, a lot more acoustic, not quite folk, but it's a little more rustic, which is something that he would like, but it's also a very John Darnielle's one of my favorite lyricists, and it's very storyteller stuff. It's often about conflicted or criminal characters, because he doesn't write a lot about himself. He treats his songs like short stories a lot of times.
Okay.
And I actually put together a little playlist that I'm popping in the Shooting the Crit channel in Discord. It's the Possum Mix Volume 1, the Mountain Goats Volume 1. And this is just a collection of songs that I like, and I feel that showcase the different types of sounds that they do.
Okay.
It's not necessarily all the songs that I think are the best, but it'll give you some different ideas for, what the Mountain Goats are like. And you may not like one song because some of them are slower, some of them are rock and roll, some of them a little more, just kind of singer-songwriting. But I think he just makes really cool music, and he's able to make very simple things sound beautiful. And then I think that's something that the character would really connect with. And that's why I chose the Mountain Goats. They are one of my favorite bands. And that one, I flat out admit, but there's a specific reason, because like Max said last week, I originally just gave him 3 random bands because I was like, I don't know. And then I thought about it for a second. I was like, well, let me change this. Okay. And so I did put a little thought when he asked that question, because and this being a music themed season, I definitely wanted to have that, because Patrick had asked me what type of music he thought would be a good theme for Wynn, and I was like, I think it'd be like some really cool like Clifford Brown, Miles Davis jazz would be like the theme of the characters. Very like kind of, you get a trumpet sound. I was like, I could just see a little bear getting down with that.
Yeah, with his jar of honey.
Oh yeah, I mean, he is Wynn of the Hexen Way, so there's going to be honey.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, it's a reference to one of the ingredients in honey.
No, yeah. I was just, I just can't get over the Wynn Poe thing.
Right.
I can't do it.
Yeah, I actually the reason I have so many names is Patrick was like, you have to just go by Wynn. You cannot constantly be a Winnie the Pooh reference walking around. and I was like, yeah, but I'm also Winnie the Blue Bear, so I kind of got that no matter what. So I was able to get that.
It works on multiple levels.
Yeah, I was very, very pleased with it. But I also feel like, at least my interpretation of people's reactions, I feel like people are having a lot more fun with Wynn more quickly than they did with Raimi.
That's for sure. Yeah, I like Wynn.
Now, speaking of Raimi, one of the things I was looking through the character stories on the Cosmic Crit website, and part of Wynn's backstory actually has to do with the Quindar conglomerate. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what was kind of your idea behind that, of kind of tying that back in together?
I can't remember. I talked about it with Patrick a little bit. Mm-hmm. And because he did like the idea to just have these small little connectors to have, because I think from what he told me, I don't think this is a secret. And I feel like this story is supposed to take place.
Sorry, Patrick.
6 months after the first season. I don't think that's a secret or anything like that. But I wanted to have
Shooting the Crit, where you get the spoilers.
It's not really a spoiler. The first episode's out, so I mean, I wanted to have these little connectors, and I think a couple characters may have done something similar in their stories. But I wanted to have these little references like that for the cohesive of the Cosmic Crit universe, to have our own kind of shared universe that these characters live in. So that it's not just we're starting a new season and nothing existed before. It's no, we're making the whole universe lived in, and that was my idea, because if he's going to be someone who's going to be attacking corporations and mining companies and stuff like that, well, yeah, he definitely would have picked Quindar because of their heavy relations with everything that was going on during the first season.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it was a fun, not super like beating you over the head. It was just, it was one of the companies he picked, and it's in just his little biography. But yeah, that's why I chose that one.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Like, Quindar's not in the APs, but it is in the Critterverse. Yeah, the Critterverse.
Yeah, the Critterverse.
That Patrick's calling it. So, yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Why Envoy, though? Is that to piss off Patrick? What did you do to piss off Patrick, is my question.
I don't everything.
I mean, outside of like, the puns, I didn't actively make any decisions to make Patrick mad, despite how often I tend to irritate him. No, one of the things, and again, as much as I tease Drew, one of the things that I wanted to do that in season 1 was I thought that the Envoy was pretty invaluable with Get 'em and a lot of the buffs that he got as just a natural reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that kind of played against being a melee character, but there are other things that I will be doing in the season to kind of balance that. But Envoy, I definitely wanted something to instantly buff things, and to be perfectly honest, like Get 'em just was such a valuable thing in season 1.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As a meta player in that respect, I didn't want that not to exist, because it did pull us out of the fire a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely wanted us to have that. And I also thought it would be cool to make an Envoy character and not use him in the way that you would think to use an Envoy character.
Okay.
Like, okay. So the first time I said, like, oh yeah, he's gonna be a melee character, a lot of people were like, why? That sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah, I've also wanted to personally play a noir battle Envoy, so I definitely feel you on that. But I also feel you on just wanting to make Patrick pull his hair out. So,
well, I do love playing with Patrick. He's an amazing GM, and I say this all the time. But this one really was more of a selfish decision of, we need to have Get 'em.
Oh yeah, Clueless in the chat is saying Drew saved your asses so much, and I'm agree. I'm pretty sure that 90% of the kills were actually because you had some Get 'em on him. So
some of them were, some of them. Like, I'm not gonna I don't want to get into Drew's head, because that'll happen.
You're right, 50%.
But Get 'em was instrumental on a number of critical kills. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm planning on choosing some things that Drew didn't do. But Get 'em was definitely one that I was like, oh, we need this straight away.
Right.
But whether or not it's useful at level 1 remains to be seen.
True. Yeah. So I think we have a few more questions, but Shades is in here, and I did want to set some time off to show this off. I don't know if you saw this, Myles, but I'm going to transition back to the other window. And please forgive me, I didn't save the images, so I'm just scrolling through the Discord and have it all miniaturized. But Shades used the Hero Forge, where you can build your own kind of piece by piece mini.
Yeah.
Yep.
And built a lot of the new characters. Unfortunately, they don't have anything close to a bear yet.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we don't have a Wynn, but he did make this. This is Bumfuzzle.
I like it.
And they made. Let me see if I can get that scrolled right. This is a pain. Why did I do this? They made Kaz. Which I think is perfect with the goggles and the fists, and it's just perfect.
It's still the thing about Hero Forge is sometimes the gloves just look very bulky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I noticed that because when I was doing, I made Raimi in Hero Forge. I haven't actually had him printed because money, but I did notice that whenever I had the gloves, they were very cartoony, which is it's a cool style.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the sleek look that Steak and Potatoes gave Kaz.
And we have, let me get that lined up right. We have Talara. So that's terrifying. Talara
can be pretty terrifying. She's got some cool stuff.
I'm not gonna honestly,
yeah, she does some pretty neat things that I didn't know about. Partially because I try to keep myself sort of spoiler free, and also sometimes I'm a bad teammate without knowing everything that my team has. But she has some really cool chicks up her sleeve.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I might be more scared of Talara just because of like her abilities compared to Alindra, which was strong abilities, but really just stabbed you for 80 damage. Talara, on the other hand, is like, oh, look at this, I made a black hole under your feet, and now you die. Like,
I'm just gonna change reality around you. Don't mind me.
I mean, I just I can't say I don't want to spoil nothing for for future episodes.
They also made a Dragonkin because they had heard us talking about Dragonkin. When you told us.
So there's your character.
So there's your character as a Dragonkin.
Well, it's funny because before I had known about the upcoming races, I legit was planning on playing a Dragonkin for a while. Like that, like this is for conversations we had in the spring of last year, because I mean, even when we were talking at PAX, like I had planned, I was like, yeah, I guess I'll be a Dragonkin. That sounds pretty fun. But that it didn't happen.
Yeah. It's okay. We got Wynn out of it.
I don't want to steal the thunder. We do have Wynn here as the big old Care Bear that Wynn will be. I don't know if the heart... I'm not sure if the heart is part of the actual character art. Yeah. And then I made a Dross, and this is just me talking crap about myself. But so Shades shared that, and I was like, that's awesome. I'm putting it in the show. And then I quickly was playing with it. Technically, I was at work, but I couldn't help myself. I made a Dross, but then I gave a Dross skeleton legs because he's standing in a pool of acid.
He's just all, what?
Yeah, that's an Adros thing, a Patrick special. But yeah, I definitely wanted to shout that out. I thought immediately, I was like, why have I not thought about Hero Forge for these characters? Like,
oh yeah, that's awesome.
So great work.
Yeah, yeah. They do some really cool stuff. Unfortunately, yeah, they don't have a bear yet, but I do have some Care Bear pops that I could just paint blue.
There you go.
For the live action,
it's the same basic, you know.
I don't think I'd be allowed to because they're technically not my pops; they're my girlfriend's, and they were limited edition holiday Care Bear pops. So,
yeah, probably not.
Yeah, considering like the Christmas pair like sold out immediately and then was going for like $150 on eBay, I was the Funko game is broken.
Yeah, a little bit, just a smidge.
But yeah, so thank you, Shades. That was just genius. And you did miss, because you said you were late. You did miss some Monstrous's art of the Futurama-esque versions of the characters. You should definitely check that out if you have not. But I'm pretty sure you're like in every Discord channel with us, so show it again. Yeah.
Roll that Beetle footage.
Rebecca's just mad at me because I said only hits for 80.
Yeah, only 80 damage, you know.
All right, there's the bear. I'll just put you know what, covering up the show's logo, and we'll just play with some Monstrous's art. I had one more picture that I wanted to go over because this one is the one you were alluding to earlier. Let me see if I click the right button here. Does it break everything? And it's the Bumfuzzle and Wynn doing bare necessities.
I love that so much. I kind of hope that Mistaken Potatoes does finish that, because I would probably buy it. I think that is so amazing.
That needs to be a new shirt for season 2, right?
So I know that you're the king of making up goals for the Patreon. What goal do we have to get to have you and Jabert reenact bare necessities in the podcast? It can be a crit bit.
That may just end up happening in an intro one time, to be perfectly honest. Assuming that, I'm allowed. But I mean, we did do Hakuna Akata. So I guess the only problem with doing bare necessities is it's a little on the nose, really, but at the same time, like, how can you not?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's right there.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a Patreon goal. That's not Patreon goal worthy. But that is something that I have definitely thought about. But then you have to hear me singing, and no one really wants that.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Clueless on the chat says, "Give me a number, and I swear to God, I'll make it happen."
I mean, we still haven't hit the 800 for the Myles Tyler Bear Walrus show.
But we already have a bear, so you're gonna have to switch that up to something else.
I'm playing a walrus. I would be down playing a walrus.
But yeah, this art was made by Mistaken Potatoes. Yeah, Steak and Tates. I don't know if they're in the channel this time, but shout out to them. Shout out to Some Monstrous Art. Shout out to Shades. Basically everybody in that Discord. There's a ton of people in the creative critters that are just pumping out really awesome stuff left and right.
Yeah, I've been pretty blown away with all the stuff that people have done, whether it was art that we've had done or fan art from people. It's always kind of extremely humbling to be part of something where people actually, make art or make shows around it. Like it's still kind of surreal to me. Like, I just consider this, I'm just talking to two buddies of mine that I've been friends with for the last year and a half. I don't even think about being on a show that's a fan show of something that I'm doing. I'm just hanging out with people I talk to every day. That's I don't even know. That's why I'm this isn't even an interview to me. This is just hanging out with pals.
Right.
I basically came up with the idea of the show simply because I wanted to talk about the show without constantly being interrupted with anime.
And what's wrong with that, though?
Guess what happened?
It got interrupted by anime.
Exactly.
Is it really an interruption, though?
I did see a question that my son is curious if Wynn is going to be a drinker like Raimi. I don't know. I think that he might occasionally. He's not going to be like Raimi, who had a flask with him at all times. And I mean, in the first episode, he's in that bar, smoking the honey hookah, which was fun to do. So he'll probably do honey based things, obviously, but he's not going to be as heavy a drinker as Raimi was. I don't think. It's not something that I planned on, at least, but who knows?
Yeah. Now I want a hookah.
A honey hookah?
Yeah. So and we kind of touched on this when we went over the characters. How do you feel that so far? I don't know what episode you guys have finished recording, and you don't have to tell us.
I'm bad at math. I'm historic. You don't ask me numbers. You've heard the podcast. You know I can't count.
But how do you think that the crew is getting along currently?
I kind of see them as a dysfunctional family, and way more dysfunctional, I think, than the Drift Rider crew was. Without giving anything away, obviously, this is a band of people who are louder personalities and very different people than the season 1 characters. So there might be some bumpy rides at first, but I'm kind of hoping they'll end up coming together. They will. I do not think they'll be as close in terms of how the Drift Rider crew felt like a unit, like a family. I don't know if they'll get that close, but I mean, Patrick Skull was kind of Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's kind of what I think we might end up shooting for.
Okay,
but it's too soon to say.
No, I swear, if the ending of season 2 is Wynn wrapping his arm around everybody and saying "We are Wynn," I'm done. I'm done with this podcast.
Well, I mean, you spoiled episode 3, so
dang it. We're gonna need a new bear.
No, I really don't know. It's too soon to tell. But it's definitely very, very different than season 1.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think also, I mean, I know none of you. Well, I think Tyler was actually new to tabletop, but I don't know how much you guys actually all played tabletop. So, getting the podcast, I'm sure there's like some nerves at the beginning of like, oh man, we're actually recording this. And then now you know that you have fans. Yeah.
I touched on that when I was talking about the first episode. We feel at least a little more comfortable. I don't want to say sure of ourselves, but we definitely feel a lot more comfortable. So when we did our first episode this time, it's definitely, it feels a lot better. I was pretty new. Like, I had played a couple of tabletop sessions with Tyler and Patrick before, but until our Pathfinder game that we all played together, myself, Rebecca, and Drew, we were all pretty new to the whole thing. And so that had a lot to do with it, because when you're playing a homebrew Final Fantasy Pathfinder game with some friends, just, for fun, it's very different than, we're recording this and it's going to be edited and we're trying to make something that's really engaging with people and sound like you're listening to your friends play a game, but also create a very cool story, which Patrick has integrated very well in season 1, I thought, and I'm excited to see what he does with our characters in season 2. But because his weaving of everyone's stories in season 1, I thought was pretty amazing. And I'm not even trying to toot the horn of the show. I'm just speaking highly of Patrick as a storyteller, because I was supremely impressed by that, because a lot of times I was surprised, because I don't like knowing stuff going in. So I didn't know what was happening in book 3, and him tying like Zero Vesh with Raimi's story still blows me away. I still love that he did that. So yeah, it's the nerves are gone, but I still feel kind of like a noob. Like, I mean, our last episodes of season 1, I'm still asking, can I get an attack of opportunity with this? Because I clearly had not been paying attention to melee combat at all.
Yeah.
When everyone else was doing it.
No,
but that's the most important thing with I think with this show is the fact that we're all having fun. Like, we aren't a bunch of people that were just thrown together. Like, we're all friends in real life, and most of us went to college together 10 years ago. So I think that's what for us makes the show as fun as it is because we're literally playing with some of our best friends every week.
Yeah.
No,
that's
absolutely,
awesome.
Absolutely.
I also have to make a correction because I was completely wrong, as often I am. Rebecca let me know that you, Myles, Drew, and her were the noobs, and Tyler and Jabert were the ones that were helping you guys out. So,
yes.
Correction,
yeah.
Tyler's not a noob. I'm sorry. He's not even here. Don't worry about it.
Well, that's why I said it was me, Rebecca, and Drew that hadn't played. Like, I had played a game with Tyler, Patrick, and our friend Mike that lasted, I want to say, maybe 5 or 6 sessions. Just we were playing for fun one winter. And then when we threw together the Pathfinder game, it's still like I still have trouble making like character sheets and stuff and doing the formulas. Like it's not something that comes naturally to me. Rebecca, when we first started, she made this amazing Excel sheet that did most of the work for me, and it was invaluable because I probably would not have been able to competently do it without that. Because this is way before we had the Roll20 Starfinder things, and she did this awesome Excel sheet that really at least saved my life for most of the season. I'm awful at keeping up with character sheets.
I like to hear that because you played the Technomancer, which is like, as a GM, I have a friend that can't like remember how to play the game as well, and he picked Technomancer, and I swear to God, it's the hardest thing for me to constantly explain Technomancer because like I barely get it myself when I'm GMing. And so, like, I'm like, do you roll? Like, I'm like, hold on. Like, let me go back. Every spell. It doesn't matter what spell it is, every spell. I'm like, do you roll on that? Like, let me go back to
the spells are the one things that I kind of ended up memorizing. And it was weird because when I created the character, I took for granted that this character's supposed to be a level 1 Technomancer, and the character I wrote was not a level 1 character at all.
Right.
Like, he's not zip zapping around the galaxy and, going on adventures with a pirate and doing all this stuff at level 1. Like, right. He should have been squished. And so I think that's something I would have redone, and that's what I tried to do with Wynn, is be a little more conscious that I'm not going to be, like he screws up in his story. So that kind of helped, like, okay, that's something a level 1 character might do. He does have a past, and all that stuff could have been done at level 1 because I didn't make this obscene amount of feats that he accomplished.
Right.
As I do with Raimi.
He rolled a 1, and that happens, as we've learned. So, also, and I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but in your combat that you've gotten to so far, I don't know how much, have you learned what flanking is?
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of.
I'm hoping it's not edited out. I want to...
I'm sure, like, there are people who listen to this podcast and who are very, like, into, like, that know all the minutiae of the game and hear me and just hate me.
You can feel the cringe.
I am the worst, because I'm sure that I remind them of, like, the player they hate the most.
No, see, I know we talked about this, and I keep saying on the Discord. If you're not on the Discord, I'm pretty sure everyone is now. You should be. But we were discussing this, and there's Matthew Koval. I follow some of his videos where he's talking about GMing, and he goes through a bunch of like types of players, and like there's the players that just want to sit there and roll for combat, and like, they're not necessarily the GM's favorite player, but they are a player. They're still engaged. I mean, if you're not actively against the party, stealing from your own team and stuff like that, which happens, then you're not necessarily a bad player. I wouldn't say that you get into your character. You have a story. You now have a voice. You've thought about every little thing. And so I would honestly, like, I would love to have a group. I mean, Patrick is honestly, as great as he is at GMing and as great as he is at editing and getting all the show up and going, he has one of the greatest, like, tables of players that I've seen. And I'm not tooting your horn. I'm not, like, trying to give Drew a big head. It's just that everybody takes it very seriously, and I've never been able to play a game where they take it seriously but can still have fun. So,
yeah. I'm blown away to hear that. Like, that's I love that someone thinks that about, because I mean, again, like, we love doing this because we wouldn't be doing this almost 2 years later, playing every single week. if we didn't, and because sometimes it's hard to get everyone together. I mean, we do it every Monday, but sometimes like it's a struggle if someone's work week is heavier, or someone's not feeling great.
Absolutely,
stuff happens. So I definitely see how other GMs have trouble like getting a regular game going, and but yeah, I mean, again, it's because we're this group of friends that love playing this game together, and Starfinder is a really fun game. It's a really good, as someone who is an entry level tabletop player, I have found it to be a very friendly system.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, yes, I've had help with, Tyler and Jabert and Patrick, helping me out with certain things, as a couple of us have. But even still, I mean, I've not felt that it was the barrier entry was not too high for me. And that's a testament to Paizo, because I mean, making a tabletop game has to be very, very difficult to begin with. And the sci-fi parallel to Pathfinder had to be a daunting task because of the history and prestige that Pathfinder has created the last 15 years. But I mean, we've all had the best time with this system, and it's been great. And we all, well, not all of us, but we love science fiction. So that also helps.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. I feel like every episode I toot Starfinder is like the greatest thing ever. So I'm not going to do that this time.
I'll do it. Starfinder is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, it just is. So
it would be if they added Power Rangers.
Well, maybe that's something they'll add in the operations manual. A fourth class.
You could kind of do Power Rangers. What you need is, I think, just mechs. Yeah, Zords.
Right. I am sure that they have heard from many people that people want mechs. I'm sure that has been a main request.
Yeah, on Starfinder Wednesday, I can't remember which episode it is, but Jason Keeley's like, we've heard that you want mechs. He's like, we can't do it right now. We every time we're coming up with a book, we're like, is it time for mechs? And they just can't apparently get it to work yet into the story. So we will eventually probably see mechs. But
hey, if you make some Power Rangers, you have a reason to have mechs.
As long as they don't make it OP, yeah.
Yeah, because you can't have them call like the mech every single time that they get into a battle and just step on the level 1, like the CR1 antagonists.
Yeah, you have to wait for Rita to grow to let her monsters grow, and then you can.
I can see like rules wise why it would be difficult to like have mechs and then have a system make sense, because why wouldn't someone just stay in their mech all the time?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
I did have another picture.
Valid point.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's how people were talking about power armor, and I was like, no power armor in my game. I don't even want to deal with it. There's another picture. Tim, you sent this to me. Who was it by?
Some Monstrous.
Okay,
the one that's on screen right now.
Yeah, with a Wynn throwing a big old get 'em.
Yep.
It's a pretty good doodle.
I love it. Like, and that was another fun thing, because I knew a bear would be kind of fun to see in different stuff. Like Raimi was a human technomancer, and I really dug Raimi's look, so I can't really.
Oh yeah.
But a big old bear is just. I understand that it was low-hanging fruit, but I could not resist. It was such a great opportunity, and I wanted to do it before everyone was utterly sick of people in their games having bears.
No, I mean, besides Walrus, I think bear was probably the most requested. So I mean, you gave what the people wanted. You're fine.
There you go.
I wouldn't call it cheap at all. You're the pleaser. Nobody wanted a human.
You're the bringer of the bear.
Like, I wanted to be the bear. I mean, this decision was made like, I want to say like in August of last year. So
well, it was a good choice.
Drew's telling me Skittermander was the most requested, and for that, I am livid. I am livid. We have Skittermanders once a year, and that's all I want to see them. I'm tired of them by the end of the episode.
I'm kind of with you there. Like, we have fun doing our Skitter episodes, but if I had to do a Skitter voice for an entire season, I would probably quit the show.
I'd quit this show.
As I often threaten to do.
Well, there you go, Patrick. You've got his kryptonite now.
Yeah, so let's see. More questions. Does anybody have questions in the chat? I've got like one more on our list. So if you guys have any questions, throw them out. Why doesn't Voltron open the fight with a blazing sword?
Because story, that's why.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
There's that. Although a lot of times in Legendary Defender, they did just open it up. The first thing they did was like pop up with a sword. That was not their first rodeo. As soon as they got into Voltron mode, they put the sword up and they were like, we're done with this.
It's the same reason the Rangers just don't immediately go, all right, bring in the Zords. I'm done with this.
Yeah. Clueless is in here talking about how he enjoyed the Texas oil tycoon Skitter voice. No.
Oh man.
No.
Dude, I've been hearing this voice for years. I don't need it.
Yeah. We mentioned this last year.
Drew has fun doing it, and it's honestly it's a good impression. I'm not gonna say it's not, but it just I don't need a whole season of it.
So we were 50%. Yeah, we were 50% right last week. And the ones we mixed up were you and Drew, not the actual voices. We know Myles is Raimi and Wynn. We didn't make that mix up, but we mixed up who was going to be playing who. Well, I thought a bear would take more punches and thus be the vanguard.
It was not a. It was a smart guess. It was probably a smarter guess than my decision to be a bear envoy. But I actually really delighted in the fact that no one automatically assumed, oh wait, there's a bear. Myles is the bear.
No, not at all. But with that, oh man, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so last week we were discussing, and I think Tim, had the idea that it was a Russian bear. I don't know where we got Russian from, but immediately we're like, yeah, it's got a Russian
look
accent. I got. And I just remember specifically saying a week ago, Clueless, that if Drew's Russian accent is that of the oil tycoon, I can't do it. So because when he explained the oil tycoon Texan Southern accent, it was supposed to be just a regular Southern accent, is what I remember hearing on the show, and it turned into Texas, the Southern Texan from The Simpsons, and that.
Right.
And for somebody who lives in Atlanta, lives in Georgia, to not
I was born and raised in South Carolina. Like I feel you.
Yeah. And you just throw out Texas oil tycoon, Drew. I'm livid.
Yeah. And Rebecca's like, we live in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I know you live in Atlanta. You lived in the South your entire life, but you're doing a Texas oil tycoon voice instead of an actual Southern voice. I wanted you to do a Southern belle.
I just want it known that, like, just because I'm on this show, it was no intention of mine to turn this into, like, let's roast Drew. Like, I had nothing to do with that at all.
No, he was fighting with me too.
This time.
He's been fighting with me. And last week was just roasting. No, 2 weeks ago was just roasting Myles because you weren't here. So
yeah, that did happen. I was like, man, they made me sound like such a jerk if they're not on the Discord and realize that I'm just a goof. Like,
no.
But I do agree with Drew because he says that I can't do a decent Southern accent, even though I've lived in the South my entire life. I'm the same way. I can't do like an actual like I will get lazy with my language sometimes, but I can't do a good Southern accent to save my life either.
Oh, come on, y'all.
I'll say y'all, but like it doesn't necessarily have to sound Southern.
As long as none of us say both with an L.
I don't.
Yeah.
I say both.
Both.
Patrick's going to be picking it up because he's up north. Anyways, it's not about accents. I know. Also, you said from Louisiana, but that wasn't a Cajun accent at all. So get that out of here. I'm tired of your excuses, Drew. Like, I just keep hearing excuses instead of just I'm sorry for that accent. Anyways, so if any other character concepts that you were thinking about for 2, like, did you have any other ideas going on in your head or anything?
Well, like I said, for a while I was kind of convinced that I was going to do a Dragonkin before I had heard an inkling of any of the second Alien Archive characters. And Patrick had mentioned that there were like cat and wolf people, and I was kind of thinking about that. He made a joke about like you just want to be a furball, and I was like, I thought the idea of like an anthropomorphic creature would be fun to play. You know, I played a human last time, so I wanted something very different. But I thought playing like an animal would be a lot of fun. And when he first suggested Uplifted Bear, I was like, that sounds like the thing I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I had also had thought of doing the I can't remember how to pronounce it. It's the Shimmerine or Shimmerine. I had thought about playing one of those, but Dragonkin was the one I was dead set on for a while, and I don't know if. I mean, I'll probably play one in the future. To be honest, I may maybe not season 3, but it's a creature that I do want to play. They sound like a lot of fun.
All right, guys.
Who doesn't want to be a dragon?
Right.
Yeah, somebody clip that real quick because we're gonna save that for the next character pool.
Hey, who says my list was lying?
Yeah,
yeah, truth.
Patrick specifically told me that it was all BS.
Yeah, but Patrick doesn't know.
And remember, Myles likes to troll him, apparently.
Yeah, true. How many Patreon goals?
What's so weird is I actually don't troll Patrick that much at all. Like I don't do that much to him. We blow it out of proportion when we're talking like with you guys, but we I don't really do that much to him. I'm sure he'll come up here and say that I do, but no. More often than not, it's just your typical GM player relationship.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, with this season, it's it will be harder for me not to just having a bear. Like I don't even have to like give it a reason. I'm playing a bear, and I can't think of any better reason than I'm playing a bear.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
In our show prep, Tim and I were talking like how big is the list of puns that you already have?
It's a pretty embarrassing large list.
Yeah, I mean, we got picnic baskets at some point. You know, oh bother is gonna be like your thing.
Like you saw in my playlist for the Mountain Goats, possum is going to be used pretty frequently.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I've compiled a list and then just like some off the cuff for bear puns. I use them. I think sparingly. Tyler, I don't think agrees, but I think I was not even the first one to actually use a bear pun. I want to say it was somebody else, but I'm I could be wrong about that. But yeah, no, I definitely have some bear puns locked and loaded.
Wait, so Tyler said that you use too many bear puns.
Yeah, not. He didn't say those specific words, but he definitely. I could hear his eyes rolling from across the country the first time I did one.
I'm just confused because isn't Tyler the one that's banned from playing a bear because
that was my confusion too? Because I was like, I don't know. You'll have to ask Tyler when he's on the show because I legit do not know that story. I know that he was banned for being a bear, and for some reason I was allowed.
Oh, we definitely will. We do have, and I'm not taking the spotlight away from you, but we do have Tyler coming next week or the week after. I can't remember which one. I would say next week, but he's not even here this week, so I gotta make sure that he's going to be here
next, or that he's not supposed to be here.
Yeah, but yeah. So does Wynn? Spec wants to know does Wynn have a family?
Loosely, yes. I have a couple of ideas for his past. I haven't gone that far back. But I mean, obviously he's gonna have a family. But I think the most I came up with was the fact that, like, you know, he left to join the Xeno Wardens kind of against his parents' wishes. Okay. And that's kind of as far back as I've gone. I really haven't delved too far into his parents yet.
I'm pretty sure Patrick will just do that for you.
I mean, whenever we do anything that background stuff, we always talk about it.
Okay. Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, sometimes Patrick comes up with stuff. Sometimes, you know, the person whose background's being investigated. Like, for example, when in season 1 where we had the flashback sequence with Wynn on his old ship with Lana, that was something that I wrote, and Patrick kind of chimed in some stuff here and there. But I wrote this script for us to do.
Wait, did you say in season 1 when Wynn was on his ship?
I'm sorry, when Raimi was.
Oh, you've already forgotten Raimi. You've already cast him aside.
And before I forget, we are streaming next week as well.
Not during my time slot, you don't.
Yeah, it's gonna be at 10. No, I think the plan is tentatively, and Rebecca will probably correct me if I'm wrong. I think we're aiming around 9-ish. Mm-hmm. I think for about an hour. We're going to do our monthly stream, which is going to be us doing a game show that I am hosting.
Our
monthly, because we hit our monthly goal for the Patreon. Our March stream is supposed to be next Sunday. So at twitch.tv/CosmicCrit. And I'm pretty excited about it. And I know they're excited about it because they don't have to worry too much. It's a very, very fun, easy to play game, but it does require people to be there like you are now, because audience participation will be key.
Well, there we go. Something to look forward to.
But yeah, we are hoping to have it basically our stream will end as right before you guys start things off. So it's a nice, 2-hour block of Cosmic Crit goodness.
Cool.
What's better than that?
I am pretty excited because I was like, when I remember you talking about it, and I was like, that sounds pretty awesome. And then now, good news, Tyler handles all of the hardware for your stream, so he has to be there, which means he has to be on my show afterwards.
That's the theory, anyway.
Yeah, we might be a little late getting it kicked on because he's gonna have to learn how we do our stuff and stuff. But yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait. Do you have any spoilers for your show? Do you have any spoilers for your game show?
There's nothing really super spoilery. I mean, basically, I'm going to be hosting a game show, and I will be asking everyone questions. They're all going to kind of debate a little bit, and then the listeners or the people watching the stream are going to vote on who wins that question.
Okay.
And so I'll go more in depth when we actually start streaming, but it's a mixture of debate / movie fights and incorporating different types of things just to have some fun. It was something that I thought that would be really easily translatable to Twitch, and would be something that we haven't done before, and something that would be kind of fun and different because we want to do something different for our streams. It's not always just gonna be us trying to play test something or run something like we did for the charity drive that we did, but us doing other things like watching movies or maybe running a different game system at some point, or streaming video games. The stream is going to be a very fun thing for us to kind of do different stuff and engage with everybody else.
Okay.
Yeah. So when are you guys going to be hosting Tim and I on your game show?
I don't know. I think next week is just going to be us because typically break Twitch when it's all of us.
Right.
Yeah.
If you don't remember Tyler's ear piercing moments from our charity stream.
Yeah.
I do. Those were fun.
I was charity streaming. I was charity streaming at the same time, and I took because I was doing I did a whole 25 hours, and I took my lunch break, tuned in, and was just like, okay, everybody, we're gonna watch this while I eat a sandwich in front of the camera. And as soon as that started, I've got these big ass loud headphones on. As soon as that started is right when that pierce came, and I was like, ah.
That woke you right up.
Yeah. The first time, I started putting my earphones kind of like this, so that if it happened, I could just pop them off real quick.
Yeah,
because it was pretty bad. I don't know what happened, but I personally would love to have you guys on something that we did sometime. So yeah, I definitely want to keep that in mind.
I was also gonna say that our first debut show had more viewers than your show, so.
I'm not surprised.
Clearly, we're the favorites. Yeah, we're the favorites, and yeah, they were totally here just to get who won the contest.
Right.
Yeah,
the true fans are here now.
But no, I feel like if even if we have at least 20 people, we need a decent amount of people, and it's not super late. I know some people, always have trouble catching up with some shows because of the time they stream. I used to watch the Power Rangers Hyperforce, but it started at 8 or 9 or 9 o'clock Eastern, and it was a 3 or 4 hour session.
Oh wow!
So I couldn't watch that live because it was just too much. But so yeah, I think we're aiming for 9 o'clock next week and go for about an hour and 15 minutes, and give or take 10 minutes. But I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And yeah, if we get a decent amount of people to chime in and vote for who they think that put up the best argument, because I know some people are tempted in this stuff to, that I think is the right answer, but you may like the answer, but if the person doesn't give a good enough argument, then that's what I want people to vote on is who gave the best full shake for their selection.
Okay,
that's awesome.
Definitely sounds awesome.
I'm gonna plug a couple more things. I just linked into the Twitch chat. This is our contest that's going on for shooting the crit. It is a very simple. All you have to do is retweet something, follow us on Twitter, and follow us on Twitch. If you're here, you're probably following us on Twitch. It is it still counts. You just click the button and it's oh, you're already doing that. Okay, cool. Check mark. You get the points. If you do that, you get $25 gift card to the Cosmic Crit store, where Rebecca just made us, and you're welcome. It was my idea. I'm stealing it. Trucker hats that say either Pronk or Cosmic Crit. So, and it's awesome. I've literally had several people come up to me in the last 4 days that I've been wearing it, and are like, what is that? And then I'm like, It's a super nerdy podcast.
And it was a great suggestion. I was like, yeah, why don't we have hats?
Right.
Yeah. It's awesome, and it fits comfortably. I don't really have much bad stuff to say about it. So definitely, sign up for the podcast or for the contest and get a free hat or a free shirt. $25 pretty much pays for anything on the thing. So do that now.
Yeah.
And another, it's a secret kind of that Rebecca didn't want me to say, is that Pronk comes from a Pathfinder game.
Yes, It came from our Final Fantasy homebrew. Pronk was the name of a goblin character.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I think I've always loved. I think we've all kind of loved that, we turned this fun recurring character that Patrick voiced from the game that initially brought this entire podcast together. And it's been integrated into our day-to-day language.
Right.
I say it all the time. Yeah. Although you do need to get the list of the other ones and get that up on the website.
Yeah, we need to do that. Yes, I agree.
I know Fleam or something. I mean, I know every one of you guys, you're all busy doing either your real life thing or your other real life thing or your other real life thing, or recording a podcast or recording a second podcast or streaming a show or coming on my show or just making sure the Discord isn't boring. Like, yeah, you guys are ridiculously busy at all times. So, but yeah.
Drew said, raise your hand if you've unironically said Pronk in real life. And I absolutely have.
Yep.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
And no one knows what it means.
Right.
I mean, I tell them because I usually just end it with fuck. So I have to correct myself. Oh, yeah. I cuss on this show. It's my show. You can't stop me, Patrick.
I'm fine with it.
That was my one, too. It's PG-13, so I get it one.
There you go. You get the one.
Yeah. It's true. Get one.
But yeah, I think that pretty much does it. I don't know if anybody else has any questions. Now they're all talking about merchandise.
We've lost them.
Yeah, they're like, can I get beanies?
I think you have one more thing to share.
Oh, do I? Oh, that's right. In 8 minutes. Thank you for reminding me. I have to make it. There's so much art today. Like, I thought the art episode was going to be it, but like it just keeps coming.
Right.
Let me stretch this guy out. No, that doesn't work that way. Rebecca made this. I'm just going to put it on the top. I'm just going to cover our faces. Nobody needs to see us. Drag it up here. And I got secret access to announce in 7 minutes now. Transition. Cosmic Crit. Cosmic Crit.
And the Order of the Phoenix's Respite.
Ooh. That is some awesome art, by the way.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think the ship itself is from book 2, I think is what Patrick told me.
Yeah. Well, that's what you told me earlier, so I'm going to say
right.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm often wrong about things, so but I think he said it was from book 2.
It's definitely sick.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. I'm about to get like my nerd card revoked, but I've never seen nor read Harry Potter.
Really?
Out.
I have no fan ties. Like, I don't know if the books. I feel like the books were out. I mean, but I don't know. I was an Animorphs kid, so.
Okay, I'll also give you a pass there.
Yeah. So I've never been a Harry Potter fan. I can appreciate people's love for it. It's fine. So I'm more tied to the first episode with the silhouettes. However, this is some sick artwork. Like, this is some great Photoshop work. Great. You stole the font, which you can afford the royalties for now because Patreon. It's awesome.
Rebecca always does just killer work with our art from the very beginning. She's just killed it. Like it's always amazing, and I'm never disappointed in the stuff she turns out.
Oh man, sorry, I'm just catching up in the chat, and Rebecca, who made this, also doesn't watch Harry Potter and couldn't get through the first book. That's awesome. That's even better.
It's a Burrish thing, I guess.
Oh man, that's great. That is fantastic. But yeah, so you have 4 minutes now. Well, I think it's 12:05, so whatever. 9 minutes until Cosmic Crit and the Order of the Phoenix's Respite. We get to actually see hear the first episode of the AP. And we get to know more about Wynn Poe. Wynn E. Poe.
and everyone else. We have a very cool collection of characters, and I'm really excited for everyone else to get to know them. And I think that for me, doing season 2, I was a little intimidated to try to follow up season 1, especially with my character, but I'm really happy how everyone turned out, and it's really weird being back at level 1. It's that has been such a whiplash for me.
So you kind of forget how those level 1 characters actually, how squishy they were.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Patrick can say whatever he wants, but it's canonical in the podcast.
Yeah. But yeah, so thanks for joining us, everybody. I appreciate it. Myles, thank you so much. You're always welcome on the show.
Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
Yeah. Stay up late. Yeah, staying up late with us. Nothing like an early morning. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Having you guys on here. I tried to get Drew and Rebecca, and they were like, no, we're not. No. And actually, I think they said they were out of town every weekend. But so Tyler, maybe next week, I think. And then I haven't heard from Jabert yet because he ignores my messages because I keep calling him Gilbert. Yeah.
He also doesn't Discord as much.
Right.
But Drew and Rebecca do have a pretty busy next couple of weeks. It's not any diss to you guys. They are legitimately in town and have things going on.
Yeah, life happens. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, St. Patrick's Day happened today, so this morning was a little rough.
It's the day where we celebrate Patrick.
Yeah, the GM. I think he's already logged off and gone to bed. He's like, no, I'm out. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it. Tim, anything?
I interrupted you. No, it's been good having everybody in the chat. Have Myles on here. Thanks again.
It was a pleasure to be here.
So next time we're just gonna have a 3-hour stream where we just talk about anime. So
I'm down. I am always down to talk nerdy.
We couldn't have interviewed you without you, so we appreciate it. But yeah, I want to thank because I kept forgetting to do this the first 2 episodes, even though I spammed it on Twitter. I want to thank the Undead GM for all of our art and our intro video and everything. He killed it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know all of you are jealous, and I love it. I love it.
When I first saw it, we all kind of cursed because it was so good.
Yeah. But all right, so say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Also, that's not copyrighted. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys next week.
Have a good one, guys.
All right, yeah, we're